Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. So, who do you think's been Manchester United's player of the season? Now, let's get straight into it. So, David De Gea, I think he's had a poor season for Manchester United. Like I've mentioned before, I think David De Gea has been inconsistent in the last couple of years. I think David De Gea has probably had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been at Manchester United. Throughout the course of this season, made a lot of mistakes. He made a mistake in the 2-1 home loss to Palace. He also made a mistake in the Everton game. I think he also made a mistake in the 2-0 away loss to Watford. He also made a mistake in the 1-1 draw with Tottenham. Don't forget he made 2 goalkeeping howlers in the 3-1 defeat to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. And there's actually been a lot of Manchester United fans that have said, we should sell David De Gea in this summer transfer window. I don't think we'll sell De Gea in this summer transfer window. But if we were to sell De Gea next year or maybe the next couple of years, we'd still get more than the 17 or 18 million that were paid for him from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. David De Gea is approaching his 10th year at Manchester United. He has made 404 appearances for the football club in all competitions. Solskjaer was talking about De Gea the other week, and he said that he has been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last 9 or 10 years because he has won everything domestically at the football club and he has won individual awards reflecting on his good performances over the years at Manchester United. David De Gea did recently say he's intending on staying at the football club for several years. But I did say, when David De Gea does eventually leave Manchester United, I think he will go back to Spain. Main explanations is because he was born in Spain, relatives are from Spain, girlfriend from Spain. He was born in Spain, obviously, and he began his footballing career in Spain. Real Madrid were in for David De Gea for several years. Don't forget, back in 2015, David De Gea was close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine, his move to Real Madrid never materialised. So Solskjaer's got a decision to make on David De Gea for next season. Is David De Gea going to remain our number one? I think there's actually no possibility chance that Dean Henderson could be our number one for next season. I give you the breaking news regarding Dean Henderson yesterday. It was stemming from Sky Sports saying that our contract talks with Dean Henderson have hit a crucial stage and his future will be much clearer in the next couple of weeks. And reportedly, we're looking to get Dean Henderson a new 5-year contract at the football club. And he could be one of the highest paid goalkeepers in Europe. At the moment, Dean Henderson's got a contract with the football club until 2022. But this has been his second season on loan with Sheffield United. And I think he's been Sheffield United's player of the season. Obviously, he's had quite a few loan spells, those Dean Henderson. He had loan spells with Stockport, Grimsby, Shrewsbury. We got Dean Henderson back in 2011 from Carlisle. We got him at just the age of 14. We know that Chelsea want Dean Henderson. It said not too long ago that Chelsea are willing to more than double his wages. He said Chelsea are willing to offer Dean Henderson around 170 grand a week. His current salary at the moment is around £70,000 a week. And Sheffield United are paying the vast majority of that. But Chelsea looking for the replacement for Kepa Arrizabalaga. Chelsea have done very, very good transfer business so far. They've got Werner from Leipzig. They've got Hakim Ziyech back in February for around 37 or 38 million. They're looking to get Havertz from Leverkusen. They're also trying to get Ben Chilwell from Leicester. So certainly, De Gea hasn't been the player of the season. Sergio Romero, I've been very, very impressed with him in our cup games. He's actually made a lot of clean sheets as Sergio Romero, but I don't think he's reliable enough to become our number one goalkeeper. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think he's enjoyed a very, very good season. Well, he's done well for the vast majority of the season. In the last few games, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's looked a bit fatigued and he's looked a bit off the pace. I think actually Wan-Bissaka has completed the most tackles in the Premier League throughout the course of this season, because I've always said, his defensive contribution's good, but we need to see more of the attacking side of his game. He does lack that attacking intent, does Wan-Bissaka. We did get Wan-Bissaka for around £50 million from Crystal Palace last summer. But yeah, it was his first season at Manchester United. But I think Bissaka can be our right back for the next 9 or 10 years. Diego Dalot. Obviously, I haven't had a perception on Diego Dalot because he's hardly even played throughout the course of this season. I think he's only made like one start in the Premier League as Dalot. Obviously, he had a few injuries earlier on in the season. And possibly, I think, he's one of the players that Manchester United are going to sell in this summer transfer window, because I don't think he's good enough to represent Man United. We did get Diego Dalot in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We paid around £19 million in from Porto. And obviously, Dalot's got a contract with the football club until 2023. It's recently said that Barcelona are interested in him. And it also said that PSG have recently been interested in him. Fossa Mensah, again, haven't really had a perception on him. He played a couple of games towards the end of the season. Don't forget, he did play in the 2-0 win against Crystal Palace. That was his first start for Man United in just over 3 years, because Fossa Mensah was out with injury for a while. And I think he also started in the West Ham game, when we did draw 1-1. I think there's actually no possibility chance that we could loan Fossa Mensah out, because obviously, he's not going to be sure to get in the team week in, week out. My Tuanzebe, again, don't really have a perception on him. Tuanzebe, of course, is out with injury at the moment. Hasn't really played a lot for Manchester United. And I think, we could also loan Alex Tuanzebe out, because he isn't sure to get game time week in, week out. Victor Lindelof. I think his season has been up and down. I think he's had some good games, but he's also had some bad games as Victor Lindelof. I think in quite a lot of games, he has made a lot of mistakes. And he's not a world-class centre-half, he's Victor Lindelof. I still like him a lot. I think he has done pretty well alongside Harry Maguire. This has been Lindelof's third season at Manchester United. We did get him under the Jose Mourinho era for around £30 million. Like I said, he struggled for that consistency in his first season, did Lindelof. But I thought last season, this season, aspects of his game have improved, but there's still things he needs to improve on. But it's been an up and down season for Victor Lindelof. Harry Maguire, same sort of perception of what I've got of Lindelof. His season's been up and down. Maguire's had some good games, and he's also had some bad games. In some games, he's showed that ability to play out from the back, and he's got in very, very good positions. But in some games, he's made a lot of mistakes. He's looked very, very exposed at the back. There's games as well where he's taken far too many touches. And some United fans don't think that Harry Maguire is good enough to captain the team, because we give Harry Maguire the captaincy, reflecting on Ashley Young's departure in January. But, it was Harry Maguire's first season at the football club. We did get him from Leicester last summer for £80 million. So he's the second most expensive signing at the club and the most expensive centre-half in the world. But certainly hasn't been our player of the season. Eric Bailly, haven't really had a perception on him, because he's obviously sustained a few injuries throughout the course of the season. Don't forget, during pre-season last summer, Eric Bailly, sustained an injury and he was out for a while. I think one of the games he played well in Eric Bailly was a 2-0 away win against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Obviously, he's got a concussion now, or did have a concussion. He sustained this injury in our 3-1 defeat to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is that he is injury prone. This has been Eric Bailly's 4th season at Manchester United. We did get him under the Jose Mourinho era. He was actually our first signing under Jose Mourinho. We paid £30 million in from Villarreal, Eric Bailly. But if he actually would be my preference over Lindelof, but he's just too injury prone. He's Eric Bailly. That's my only element of concern. Luke Shaw. To be honest with you, I think Luke Shaw's had a very, very good season for Man United. Obviously, he missed the first part of the season with injury, did Luke Shaw. But then when he came back after that first injury, I thought he made a fantastic impact. Obviously, Luke Shaw, I think, scored in the 3-0 away win at Derby in the FA Cup, was it 5th round? My only element of concern about Luke Shaw is that he is injury prone. Don't forget, he missed our games towards the end of the season with an ankle injury, so he's missed our last 3 or 4 games. But he's been long serving, this has been Luke Shaw's 6th season at Manchester United. We did get him from Southampton, was it back in 2014? We paid around £30 million for him. But he's been good, but I wouldn't say he's been the player of the season. Brandon Williams, I think he's enjoyed a very, very good season for Man United. This was his first full season in the senior squad. I think Brandon Williams played a good, was it 20-odd or was it 30-odd games for Man United this season? He scored his first professional goal in the 3-3 draw with Sheffield United. I think that's the only goal Brandon Williams has scored for the football club at the moment. But what a player he is, and he's definitely the foreseeable future for Man United. But what I've seen of him when he's played this throughout the course of this season, he showed very good attacking intent, defensively being good. He's made some very, very good overlapping runs. Maybe for next season, though, Luke Shaw will remain our first choice left back because obviously, Solskjaer will see it as that, Luke Shaw's more experienced than Williams. But I think in time to come, Brandon Williams will become our first choice left back. That's what, I do think. Paul Pogba. Again, haven't really had a perception on him. Because obviously, he missed the vast majority of the season with injury, did Paul Pogba. Don't forget, he was out with that ankle injury. I thought towards the start of the resumption of the season, when Paul Pogba came back, he did make a fantastic impact. He did well in the 1-1 draw with Tottenham when he came on. He did well in the 3-0 away win at Villa because he scored his first goal of the season, and it was his first goal since April 2019. I also thought he did well in the 3-0 win against Sheffield United in that. But I think in the last 3 or 4 games, Paul Pogba did look a bit off the pace. But I still think his combination with Bruno Fernandes has been absolutely fantastic. Now, I think Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United because obviously, we have got qualification for the Champions League. Maybe if we hadn't got qualification for the Champions League, then there'd have been a possibility chance that Pogba could have still left the football club. It was looking very, very imminent at one point that Pogba was going to be leaving Manchester United. Because don't forget, last summer, Paul Pogba was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. And Pogba did say last summer he was seeking for a new challenge and even publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club. But last summer, I think we said we wanted around 180 million for Pogba. There was a lot of narratives about him possibly going back to Juventus because Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus, PSG and Barcelona, and I think Inter Milan were also in for him before. But I think we'll end up getting Paul Pogba a new long-term contract at the club, but if we can do this, it will end the uncertainty over his future. Now, Fabrizio Romano was talking a few weeks ago, and he said that Manchester United want to extend Pogba's contract, and Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, is waiting for the offer. Now, it said a few weeks ago that Paul Pogba was close to signing a 5-year contract at Manchester United. And it says this contract should be announced at the end of the season. And we are now at the end of the season. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's just got under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Yeah, but I can see Paul Pogba staying at Manchester United. If he doesn't exceed expectations next season, then there's a possibility chance he could go next year, Paul Pogba. You know. But yeah, so I haven't really had the perception on him. Nemanja Matic. To be honest with you, I'm going to make an admission regarding Nemanja Matic. I think, he's enjoyed a very, very good season. He did very, very well towards the end of the season as well, did Nemanja Matic. Because if you've noticed, towards the end of the season, Matic was getting a lot of starts. He was getting there ahead of the likes of McTominay and Fred. But obviously, for the first part and the midway part of the season, Matic wasn't getting starts. McTominay and Fred were getting there ahead of him. But Matic has done very, very well. I think a lot of aspects of his game have improved, keeping the ball better, getting in better positions, providing good service. And that's what I want to see of him. This has been Matic's third season at the football club. We did get him from Chelsea for around £40 million back in 2017. But yeah, I think he's a pretty good player, is Nemanja Matic. But Tominway, I think he's had a good season. Did very, very well in the first part of the season. Then obviously, got that ankle injury, and McTominay was out for a while. But I definitely believe that McTominay is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. So he's had a very, very good season. Fred, he's also had a very, very good season. Definitely Fred has confounded his critics wrong. We got Fred in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We did pay around £52 million for Fred. And didn't really get his opportunities under the Jose Mourinho era, but this season under Solskjaer, he has done very, very well. But I also thought Fred was exceptional in Ukraine, with Shakhtar Donetsk. But I think when Fred's played throughout the course of this season, he's held his line well, his stability's been good, he's looked very, very mobile on the ball and that. So I've been very, very impressed with Fred. Bruno Fernandes, I've got to say, he's been, the player of the season since he came in, obviously, in January, because he hasn't been with us since the start of the season. Bruno Fernandes, as you all know, has won 3 Player of the Month awards. He won the Player of the Month for June. He also won it for March, and he also won it for February. And I think Bruno Fernandes has got 10 goals for the football club, I think, in all competitions since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon in January. We did get Bruno Fernandes in a deal worth £65 million. I think that was with add-ons included. And Bruno Fernandes is definitely one of the best players we have recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. But he has definitely made the difference in the team. We do remain unbeaten in the Premier League since Bruno Fernandes came in. But he does obviously play in that number 10 because that's his predominant position, and that's why, Bruno Fernandes looks more effective. And I've also got to say Bruno Fernandes did very, very well on his debut against the Wolves. I think he actually made the most touches. So he's one of our player of the season. Mason Greenwood. I think he's enjoyed a very, very good season. Now, Mason Greenwood was only getting starts towards the end of the season, wasn't he? Because obviously, for the first part of the season and the midway point of the season, all Mason Greenwood's appearances mainly were coming from the substitutes bench. But towards the end of the season, he was getting starts. And he did very, very well. Mason Greenwood scored 17 goals in all competitions this season for Man United, didn't he? And Solskjaer has been talking a lot about Mason Greenwood recently. He's definitely the foreseeable future for Man United, and he looks very, very effective on that right-hand side. But this was his first full season in the senior squad. But I think recently Mason Greenwood's had he did have an ankle injury, but he did look a bit off the pace in the last few games. But yeah, I think he's enjoyed a very, very good season. Marcus Rashford. He certainly hasn't been our player of the season. Obviously, Marcus Rashford, first part of the season, didn't really make an impact. Then obviously, he had that back injury. He was out with that back injury for quite a few months, wasn't he, was Marcus Rashford. And then after lockdown, didn't really make the best of impacts, but still managed to score like 3 goals after lockdown. As you all know, throughout the course of this season, Marcus Rashford has been playing on that left-hand side. We'll probably keep it Marcus Rashford on that left-hand side. Rashford's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. But I think this season, Rashford scored 22 goals for us in all competitions. Yes, he did. Anthony Martial. He's definitely one of our player of the season, without a shadow of a doubt. Martial's enjoyed a very, very good season for Man United. He's scored 22 goals in all competitions this season. We do know this season that Anthony Martial has been playing in that number 9 role, so he's been playing centrally. Like I've said to you before, I think Anthony Martial's had 2 good years out of the 5 years he's been at Manchester United. He's done well this season under Solskjaer, and he did well in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. We did pay around £36 million for Martial from Monaco back in 2015, and we did get Martial as a 19-year-old. Martial, by the way, did score a hat-trick in the 3-0 win against Sheffield United. And that was his first senior hat-trick for the club, and that was the first hat-trick scored by any Manchester United player since Robin Van Persie, was it back in 2012 or 2013. Odion Ighalo, obviously, he came in on January deadline day on loan. And to be honest with you, I think Odion Ighalo made a fantastic impact. Obviously, we got Odion Ighalo in as a cover-up to Rashford because obviously, Marcus Rashford was out with injury. I think Ighalo did well, top goal scorer in the FA Cup. Obviously, just before the resumption of the season, it had confirmed that we extended Odion Ighalo's loan until January 2021. Obviously, after his loan with us, I presume he'll go back to Shanghai Shenhua, Odion Ighalo, because we've no option to buy him or there is no obligation to buy. But obviously now he starts are limited, his appearances will just come from the bench now, will Odion Ighalo's. Jesse Lingard, I think he's had a very, very poor season, but I think he's been inconsistent for Man United anyway for quite a while now. Jesse Lingard did score in our 2-0 win at Leicester on the final day, and that was his first goal for the football club since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game in charge. So that just indicates how inconsistent he has been. And like I've said before, reflecting how long Jesse Lingard's been at the football club and reflecting on his status at the club, he should be putting much more better performances out. I think Lingard's one of the players that we are going to sell in this summer transfer window. I think we'll probably get £20 million for him. I think Lingard just got under a year left on his contract, has he? But the club have an option to extend it for a further year. Solskjaer was talking about Lingard towards the back end of the season, and he says, he's been a big part of the club for several years and all of that. But I'm hopeful that we can get rid of him. He did score, I think, in 3 of our finals, though, did Lingard. Andres Pereira, I don't think he's been good either this season. Obviously, a lot of his appearances came from the substitute bench. I think since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes anyway, Andres Pereira has found game time very, very difficult at Manchester United. So we'll look to get rid of him. Juan Mata, I haven't really had a perception on him because he hasn't, really played this season. Juan Mata doesn't really get in the team now. I still think Juan Mata's had a fantastic career at Manchester United. This has been Juan Mata's 6th season at the football club. We did get him back in 2014 under the David Moyes era. We paid just under £40 million for him from Chelsea, Juan Mata. Phil Jones, like I said, haven't really had a perception on him because he's hardly played throughout the course of this season. I think he's only made 2 starts, is it, in the Premier League? Phil Jones is out with injury at the moment. This has been Phil Jones' 9th season at Manchester United. We've had him at the club since the Ferguson era. I think, didn't we pay around, was it 16 or 17 million pounds in from Blackburn? But I expect Jones to leave Manchester United in this summer transfer window. Obviously, Tahith Chong, haven't had a perception on him because he's hardly played. I think, he's one player Man United are going to loan out. Dylan Levitt, I think, we're also going to loan him out because he's hardly played. I recall him playing one game, and that was against FC Astana in the Europa League. Also, too, James Garner, I think we're also going to loan him out. I think the likes of Swansea and Cardiff are interested in James Garner. And I think it also mentioned that Doncaster are interested in him. Daniel James, I think he's enjoyed a good season for Man United. Obviously, to be honest with you, I think Solskjaer overplayed Daniel James throughout the course of the season. I think he played a good 30-odd games for Man United. When we played him throughout the course of the season, we mainly played him on that right-hand side, even though he's more effective from the left, Daniel James. Towards the end of the season, Daniel James, weren't getting starts because, like I mentioned, Mason Greenwood was getting there ahead of him. James was a cheap solution. We paid £15 million in from Swansea last summer. But I think there's a chance we could loan him out for next season, especially if, Man United do get Jadon Sancho on the board. So I think our best players, have been Bruno Fernandes and Anthony Martial. You've got to say, they have, probably been our best players. So they've got the players of the season, definitely. But I think it was actually, in reality, Martial that got player of the season. So yeah, anyway, that is the latest news on all of that. But as you all know, the summer transfer window is open. And like I said, Chelsea have done very, very good recruitment so far. Manchester City, they're doing good business so far. I think they're close to getting Ferran Torres from Valencia for around 21 million. I think they have now got Nathan Ake on the board. Well, I don't think it's been officially confirmed, but I think it said yesterday from the BBC that City have had a £41 million bid accepted from Bournemouth for Nathan Ake. And City will be delighted about that because their priority was, of course, to get a centre-half. I think Ed Woodward has said he wants to make around 4 signings in this summer transfer window. So he said he wants to get Sancho and he wants to get 3 other players with Jadon Sancho. And Solskjaer's already told Ed Woodward, the areas where he does want to strengthen up, because there's still areas in our squad, where Manchester United are lacking. This summer transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 4th transfer window as Manchester United manager. But I think we can be competitive in this summer transfer window because obviously, we have got qualification for the Champions League. And of course, we also finished 3rd. And I think that's a fantastic achievement to finish 3rd and get qualification for the Champions League. Because let's put into the equation, this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first full season at Manchester United. And earlier on in the season, you wouldn't have even thought we'd have finished in the top 10, the way we was playing. Because earlier on in the season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. And at that point, Solskjaer was close to getting sacked as Manchester United manager. He was very, very close. But I think, since January, we have seen an upturn in form. We are unbeaten in our last 14 league games. And don't forget, we did go on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. Until, obviously, Chelsea beating us 3-1 in the FA Cup semi-finals. And like I said, I've seen a lot of improvements under Solskjaer. And I've seen a lot of improvements since January. We have got around £140 million to spend in this summer transfer window because our transfer budget recently got revealed. Solskjaer will be just happy to prove his critics wrong because I was very critical of Solskjaer earlier on in the season and so too were a lot of Manchester United fans. But I said, didn't I, even if we didn't get qualification for the Champions League, Solskjaer would have still been Man United manager for next season because it is a transition period and it has been a transition period for a while. Like I said, for next season, Solskjaer's got to exceed expectations to remain in the Manchester United job, because next season I think our expectations will be to challenge for the Premier League title. You know, this has been the 7th season now. We've failed to mount any kind of title challenge up, and we have not won the Premier League since 2013. So last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. You know, next season will be Solskjaer's second full season at the football club. But we have got to spend money to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. We've got the Europa League games in August. I do believe Solskjaer will make some rotation in the squad for them games. We've got Lask on the 5th of August in the second leg. We are 5-0 up against Lask from the first leg. So we're more or less into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. I think we are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. And if we win the Europa League, it will be our first piece of silverware under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because we've not won out in terms of silverware under Solskjaer yet, and we haven't won out in terms of silverware for over 3 years. And that's the first time since, the 1990s and all of that. But I still don't know if Solskjaer is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. You know, time will tell. But big decisions have got to be made in this summer transfer window and that, you know. But yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.